Yama g'day everybody and welcome to Discord Discussions, our second instalment of Round Table Conversations. And this week we have Polly's presenting our topic. It's called Digital Relationships and the Real World, the Differences and the Similarities. So welcome, Polly.
Hello everybody.
What have you got?
Welcome.
What do you got for us today?
Well, okay. As far as digital relationships goes, this is kind of, I think it's not an old concept, but it's a new idea for me at least, because whenever I considered any sort of digital relationship, it was always kind of put inside of a box that was different from whenever I say this from now on in this discussion, when I say real relationships, what I mean by that is that there's an actual physical presence, near somebody that you spend a lot of time with. Like that's what traditional relationships used to be built on, is how much time you spend with the person, like physically.
Yep.
Right? Like you think about a marriage, or like people live together. They spend the majority of their time, or at least the majority of their free time, together, and that is something that's intrinsic in the relationship, and it builds it, and it makes it stronger than just normal relationships, like say working relationships. But so the digital relationships to me have always been kind of like this separate thing, where I guess you could say I never considered until I experienced a loss of a digital relationship, like through death.
Yeah.
And some people would say to me, well, why, I don't understand why you're so upset. You never even met these people. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't really understand why either. I mean, it was just like the only thing I could say was it was the relationship that I had. And it got me thinking, like, how come there seems to be something going on with important relationships that you don't have to spend a lot of time physically, if any at all, and still have the same sort of, I don't want to call it value, but I guess significance would be a closer word that I'm looking for here. And it's just, I don't know, I've never considered that, because I've only been a part of the digital chat room world for, I don't know, 5 years maybe at the most. But then I was also thinking that digital relationships aren't something that's very new, and I just probably didn't really notice them because they weren't as easy to encounter. But I know somebody who actually met online, like before, like they were using ICQ. They were like, this is way before YouTube, way before Discord, and they got married. So they had a digital relationship in a sense before they got married. So there's clear evidence of the same thing I'm talking about. You don't necessarily have to be in the same room with someone and spend that much time with them to be able, or to allow a relationship of that significance to develop. And it's something I never thought about until the loss of those relationships, because when someone asked me about why I was so upset, like, I don't understand, you never even met these people. Well, neither did you, right?
Well, I can add to that, Polly.
ICQ went similar to that. Sorry, Luna, I did not mean to cut you off.
I know you're right, love. We're just always so eager to jump into the conversation. No, I was just going to say with yourself, Polly, I've talked to you a lot online, and you sent me a little present. The day that little present arrived physically in my house, we all jumped on it. We could actually feel you. The only thing missing in the kind of relationship you're talking about is the physical energy when someone's in your presence. But all you got to do is get them to send you something. That energy will be attached to whatever they're sending you, like it was with what you did, Polly. And I could feel you, the real you, not just the voice on the other end of the computer. and I realised that was the only thing missing. Other than that, it's like I've known, like you're in Australia, and I know you properly. And
Exactly.
I was so reluctant about digital stuff, but me too have made friendships. And it's quite the same amount of hours. Sometimes I think
Yep.
it's better because you've actually got time to sit down and have a proper conversation, whereas in real life it's like, oh, hang on, I've just got to go here, I've got to do this, and you cut the conversation short according to what's happening in real life. But on digital, you have deeper, more meaningful conversations, I think. I'll hand it to you, Jules.
Oh, such a, I mean, such a vast topic. People have been internet chat rooms since the 90s. I mean, when I first got my computer, I didn't know anything about internet or anything, and there was this program called ICQ, and it's not something that I tuned into all the time, but it was like if you were doing something and you were having just chit chat, you got that notification that somebody was wanting to chat with you. And we've come a long way since having somebody digitally want to chat with you. I mean, it, I never was one to always be in a chat room, but I have met good people, wonderful people, beautiful people, and then I've also and then online I've met some people who are just outright not with it. They're just not what you expect or what they presented themselves as. It it's like any relationship. You go into it and trust your gut. You know what feels right to you. I've used that discernment, and my best friend in the universe that I've known, who has become my actual sister and my soul sister, we've known each other for 20 years, and we met online, and that's like one of the greatest gifts I've gotten was just the discernment to use my intuition and let the right people find me. And that was a one-time deal years ago. It was one night, and we've never chatted there again. It was on the phone. It's digital. I mean, digital relationships can be real, meaningful, impactful.
Right.
You're right,
You,
because you
you
are
mentioned the
with
phone. Like I
with
think that's probably that has to happen, right? Like you can't like these relationships that we're talking about, the really important ones in everybody's life who exist on a digital platform. I would venture to guess, but I'm also asking at the same time. Have have we not mostly all spoken verbally on some kind of platform or another as well? Like is that a prerequisite?
For me, it is. Um, I can tell a lot by voices. In fact, voices are really important to me. Um, and
But
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
getting at is like I'm trying to figure out why how come digital relationships can be this almost the same as physical relationships, but it's like now that there's no dependency on being together with somebody because you just like being with them. There's something that's replaced it, or something that was there all along that is just being allowed to, be easier seen. I'm trying to figure out what that is.
I can approach it from the other standpoint of meeting someone and living with them and being married to them for 36 years. And some of that time, I felt I really knew him, meaning intimately. intimacy, but I wouldn't say it was more than people that I've not been in the same room with. And I can't explain that.
Please do.
No, I can't.
Oh, I thought you said you could.
No, I can't. It's just something about, I think it's how we all define knowing someone.
Perhaps. I know people that have, a few people that have found relationships through digital conversations, and they're living together now. And it's kind of good because it allows you to get to know someone. You're not in the room with them. If you get the shits with them, you can just say, yeah, I'm going now, and talk to them later. And if it was in real life, they'd be going before you go and stuff like that. But in digital, it allows a little gap. So you can sort those things out that are uncomfortable in real life. That's what I've found. It's how can I explain it better? I don't know. Well, on digital, you'll say extra things probably you wouldn't say in real life because they're actually there in front of you, and you've got body language to say the rest of it for you. But on digital, you have to say it from your heart. You have to say it from your mind.
I guess
so unique about what we're doing here is we're all here because there's no animosity. I mean, we agree to disagree. It's a platform where we can just be ourselves. And along the journey, I have learned so much from everybody here.
Well, I was going to say that perhaps the digital realm is like, in some ways, provides like a social security blanket. So that, like, I mean, it kind of goes along with what Luna was saying. Like, you can avoid embarrassing moments a lot easier.
Where else
directly
can I go to talk about all the crazy shit that's going on in the world right now? Where else can I go where I can actually just say, have you seen, or what do you think of? And not automatically be the crazy conspiracy theorist. I'm just seeking answers to questions I have.
And I can describe a time when I wouldn't reach out to my dearest friends in real life, but I reached out to someone in Discord and told them something very personal and very painful. And I really just didn't want to talk to anybody else except that person.
Why? Was it because of that person, or was it because the fact that it's digital, that there's like there's a safety?
That person also
there
knows him digitally. So,
Okay.
yeah, it made it, I didn't have to explain a whole lot of background, or that'd take too long. And I just didn't want to go into all that time.
I found it strange because I had a community already, my cultural community, and then I had all you mob here and digital, and I found that you mob here and digital, yous were like I carried you around inside me because I sit down, I hear you, I can see yous if I want to, but basically we talk. So when I go in real life in my community, yous are still inside me somehow, like that, because I can't show my friends who you are and that unless I pull digital stuff out, and I don't do that when I'm out and about. I'll reserve that for home. So to me, when I go out and back in the community, yous are inside me, all my digital friends are inside me, and I take yous with me. And then when I come back, I tell yous what I did while I was gone, but I can't really tell everybody about my digital friends in real life because it'd take too long. I'd have to describe everybody. and it's just like a whole different world of people that I have, and I dare not say one is better than the other because they're kind of different. I think they're all, to me, they're all the same. I love yous all just as much as there are people I can touch and see here. There's no different, but that's just me personally. Other people, I know other people have different ways. Some people even have a falseness presented in digital world, and I think one of the things you learn is how to detect deception just by talking to somebody, whereas in real life, say you meet someone, you can tell by body language, looking in their eyes, their energy and the way they speak, and you suss them out to see if they're rigid and genuine. It's a little bit different in digital world. You have to actually sit there and listen and take it in a different way, but it sharpens up your gifts that way. So when you go out in
That's
real world,
exactly what I was thinking, Luna. I have to listen more deeply because I can't see them.
yeah. But you can if you want to. You just flick the switch and put the camera on, right? But
No,
yeah.
no, they have to put on their camera.
Yeah.
No, and still, they know they're on camera.
Yeah. And it's
not
reversed.
gonna-
It's reversed to real life. So in real life, you get dressed and you go out into public. So your first
Yeah.
thoughts are on how you look because you're going out in public, right? On digital, it's different. That's your second thing. Your first one is your voice, and then the second thing is when you get to know someone, they turn the camera on, and you don't necessarily look the best because you're at home and you haven't gone out. Good luck to you if you have. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same things, but they're just rearranged a little bit different. That's how I find it.
Yeah.
I don't know very many people outside of the people I know digitally, like the real people that I know. I don't think that any of them, now that I think about it, have any sort of digital relationship at all. It's like they don't think that they're real even. There's no point in even pursuing digital relationships in their eyes. But yet, I will also say that these people are not happily in any sort of meaningful relationships with anybody.
And I
So-
gotta jump in and say that my mate Donnie here, my brother Donnie, if it wasn't for digital stuff and that, we probably wouldn't even know each other existed. And now we're best of mates. We're tribally, just as
Wow.
brother and sister. And we actually haven't seen each other in person, and we only live 6 hours away. But when the time comes, I know it'll be exactly how it is when we're talking, because I already just know. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to donate to me getting around as I'm joking.
Put somebody in the square jar.
Yeah, but that's how it is. They're not just overseas friends I've made friends in my own country that are only a couple of hours away. So it brings it to reality that much more. And I'm starting to see no difference because of it. It's a better thing because I can reach out. I've met people I'd never be able to contact if I didn't have the
And I
digital.
will compound to that and add that this is a relationship in a sense that we're brothers and sisters, we're a soul tribe. And I can't tell you how many times I've come home and it's blah. And then my evening unfolds and I just chit chat, and then more people come and more people come in, and we're all yarning. And it's just at the end of the day, you guys always brighten up my day. And that's the better part of a relationship, is having that that niceness.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that deadly silence again.
I didn't mean to make everybody go all goo,
That's all right.
but I was trying to get to the point that what we have here, even though it's digital, I don't think it's like any other digital nook out there. This is something
It
that's
hasn't been for me.
it's uniquely ours.
Very unique to me.
Yeah, I was
I think it's
very reluctant with machinery and digital stuff, but I do have to say it has gifted me something beautiful
because
as far as
I
relationships.
do not do social media. I don't do Facebook. I don't do Twitter. I don't do TikTok. I don't do any of it. This is the only social media that I use, and it's a good platform in the sense that not only do I get to connect with everybody here, there's all these places where you can see real time stuff, people sharing their lives, people sharing news.
It's
I mean,
true.
it's a good source. It's just all around. Everything that you need is here. Answers are here. You just got to put the pieces together.
Just to change gears a bit, two things. When you lose someone online that you've had a friend with, and we are a little bit different here in this room, I presume, to others, because a lot of other people, they have all those extra platforms, what you just said, Jules. They have Facebook, they have Twitter, they have this, so they're actually talking to 10 times more people than we are. I find that a little scary because the net's cast even wider, and as a human being, your energy can deplete the further out you get. So I don't know how much quality relationships would get after that, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we're older, most of us are older here, so for the younger people it'd be different. I wish I had some young people around me to ask them. To them, that's probably like their left arm. It's just natural to have it. That's part of their life. For us, it came at the later half of our lives, this technology. So we got to taste a world without technology. We got to make friends face to face the old-fashioned way. That's probably why we didn't have any. There wasn't many around. No, I'm joking.
I mean, but for all it really is kind of no. It's no different than an actual in person relationship. We've all gone and had nights where we've all had our cameras on and we've all seen inside each other's house. I mean, it's no different. I mean, you don't have to worry about messing things up. You got to leave the room as you left it.
Yep.
You're always pressured to, okay, what's going on next. I mean, when you're in a relaxed environment and you can still see one another, I feel like you connect on a deeper level. It's mentally, and there's a spiritual aspect coming up to this too.
True. And you don't have to make cup of teas and clean up the dishes after they leave.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have met you, Jules. I wouldn't have met Polly and Aisee and Joe and Connie, and Donnie.
I wouldn't have met anybody here either. I wouldn't be on this journey that I'm on now if I didn't take the chance, roll the dice, and oh, they're lovely. I want to chat with them more, that, and then more of us came. We're all like minded, and we all chatted, and we just flow together.
One thing too
Us,
with the
like
digital,
moving back into.
we're more tolerant.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're right. Just to add to what you're saying, I found looking at our relationships, we're more tolerant, because I think in real life, when you've got too much variety of differences between people, they tend to move to another group. But on digital, we actually like the variety of people and we accept everyone for what they are, and we like their differences. I think there's more tolerance in a digital relationship. So I want to hear from Polly more. Come on, Polly.
As much
What
as
I'm
I love
interested
coming
in,
here and singing with you guys, and it's just I enjoy learning here too.
Me too. I've learned so much.
I have. It's helped me discern better.
I'm interested in the same thing that develops a digital relationship that happens in real life. What is that same thing that happens digitally, and how does it do that? Like,
Communication is a driving force of a relationship. I mean, you will keep a relationship if it's somebody you can talk with
Yeah, I think it depends
or
on the people.
communicate with.
you know what? Sometimes I would sometimes believe that when you have the ability to use text as a way of communicating, the one good thing about it, to I guess offset the bad thing, which is that you can't really hear tone or inflection. But the one good thing about it is it prevents the sender from saying something they don't want to say because they get to read it again before you say it. If that,
You
is
Yeah.
feel
that
like
yeah.
if you connected with somebody, when you read a text from them, when you read it, you'll hear their voice. I do.
Right. I know what you mean. Like the way they say things, so you'll almost get the right tone of it.
Yeah.
This is really an interesting topic, Polly.
Well, okay, let me ask you this then, Jules. Is there, like, let's say those those texts where you can hear the other person's voice, are those uh only the ones of the important relationships, the digital ones?
No. People that I know here in town that I've had that I've had voice conversations with, face to face conversations with. Um, and some of those people I've actually had like Skype and Zooms with. So those messages, the ones from telemarketers, I read them and I read them in my voice, but all my other ones, like the messages that came in this morning from Connie, I could read that in her voice. My daily occurrences, the people I know, I can read them, and I can I should backpedal a little because there are some that I feel like when the bond is stronger and there's more, I'm not gonna. There's if you've known somebody, the more you're accustomed to their actions and their tone of voice and what they would say. So it's easier to always, for me, and I say me, to look at those messages and hear their voice. The newer people that haven't been in my life so long and that I know, if they have a distinct voice, it's easier for me. But if they're a casual or a new acquaintance, sometimes their words don't come through as clear, but I hear their voice, but it's like a mumble.
Right.
What about the other side of digital relationships where Brother Donny brought this up, where people can bullshit and I know that eventually they get caught out eventually, but it is a good platform for the not so honest people. They give themselves a pretend character, so to speak. They're not honest about their stuff. Like, we've all met them. There's not as many of them as there is genuine people.
It's unfortunate that it still happens. It's along internet came, and I can give you one character in particular who has grifted the internet for decades. David Wilcock. Way back in the 90s, he was pushing his ascension stuff. And he kept on and kept on, and then when he would be called out on it, he would like hide from society. And then as things would heat up again, he would put his prophecies out and push his propaganda and his lies. He's been doing that and he still gets by with it. And the reason he gets by with it is because of digital media and digital platforms.
Yeah, it has that
You can,
aspect of deception.
yeah.
some people are using digital relationships as, like, I wanted to talk about this as well, which is really good. They've been almost weaponized in a way, or like even hackers or scam artists or con artists, they'll build a relationship with you first so that you trust them before they steal all your money. So
Yeah.
there's, like, in a digital world, you would consider, like, for sure that you would encounter more people like that, just out of numbers, right? Because you're never going to meet the same amount of people in person that you'll meet in online if you're online a lot.
True.
Right? I mean, not possible.
True.
So there are, I guess, unfortunate ways to use relationships for people that are interested in doing that kind of thing. And the ironic thing about that is, in order to use a relationship to con somebody, you have to possess some level of empathy. But then once it gets to a certain point, once you get the right information, you just shut that empathy right off.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's got anything to do with, like, it's a digital relationship, so it doesn't really register in the human brain for these people as, like, real. They can just do whatever they want to these people.
Well, it's no different.
It's that intuition you would have, like, when we would congregate and we would all watch a show. I mean, we would listen to the chat and moderate it. I mean, if it got sketchy, I mean, we didn't even pursue that relationship.
Because it's like the phone, you just hang up and you don't have to answer it again.
Well, I guess what before the PPP rolls out at the station, I guess what I'm saying with this, shucks, it's gone. Sorry.
Ooh,
Maybe it'll come back.
The train just left. We left again. We left without you. Standing on the station with your bags. No, but you can. It depends. It all comes back to what kind of person you are, whether you're digital or in real life. I believe that you'll still conduct yourself in the same manner. There is temptation.
Like when you're... Sorry, go ahead, Luna.
No, go if you remembered. I'll catch you while you remember.
Yeah, I remember. It's like moderating a chat. It's your intuition of, hey, this is a toxic relationship. This is a troll. You don't want this person around. It's a troll. Just like when you have the intuition when you meet somebody, and even going out physically on the first date. You know, on the first date, if you want to pursue a second date. The digital relationships in many ways kind of alleviate, if the person uses their camera and you get to know them, that digital connection alleviates that. Okay, now I'm ready to ask you out on a date, because the likelihood that there will be a second one would be, I would think, better.
Yeah, especially if it's a digital date, you don't have to actually get dressed up, right? I'm joking. No, but you're right, Jules. And for me, it's helped me when I listening to everyone speak over the years. I can tell better now in real life as soon as someone opens their mouth where they're at, because I not only can do it with my eyes and feeling their energy now, I can do it really better with my ears because I've been listening better. So it's armed me that way. So,
Yeah, turning into a really, really interesting conversation tonight. Good topic, Polly.
Jesus.
Yeah, I wish it had come to me under better circumstances, but it's a very interesting one. I don't think we're going to get through all of it, but because there's so many other things about just the word relationship itself. But I'm really fascinated by this whole idea that the digital sort of evolution of relationships and what they mean to people, and how you can have almost the same sort of value in a relationship never met somebody without ever meeting them, and still feel like the loss of somebody that you've known like in real life for a very long time.
But we are in real life. Do you know what
Yeah,
I
but
mean?
but what I mean by real life is like in your geography, in your day-to-day dealings with people, like people in front of you.
You can't physically touch them.
Right.
It's
I
like
understand, but that's overrated to me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because you've got one lot of deception's been taken out, that physical touch side, right? And we know that people can use that to their advantage and do all sorts of things. And we know that people use that as a sign of affection, that they want to give you a hug. I love you, my friend, give me a hug, right? We can't do that. But that's what I was saying before, because we can't actually physically say, I want to hug you, my friend. It comes out in what we say. We have to go that extra length from our mind and heart and put it in our voice. That hug comes out in your voice. Do you know what I mean? Instead of in real life. It's actually made us exercise ourselves in an area we never would have done if it wasn't for this. We probably wouldn't
So
have
it's
known it
like
existed.
it's like a training tool.
Yeah.
It makes us be more creative.
Yep, that too.
It does mean.
I've got to say,
Even in my imagination, like when someone's describing something, because I can't see it, it's like reading a book. It fills in my mind.
Yep.
I think in pictures and images.
And as for losing people that you've known a long time on digital, like you said, Polly, you don't really think it'd affect you, but it does, because they are real. You do talk to them, you do see them, you do laugh with them, you do cry with them. The only thing missing is you can't reach out and hug them or hold their hand. But I'm sure one day technology will figure that out. Hang on, I'll just get in
that would be weird.
I'll just beam over, it'll be all right. And I think too, it depends on person's expectations. Like, I know people that they'll meet people in public or community and everything's okay. Then they'll find out something about them, or they might go to the house and realise they're really messy people or something, or they're really anal or whatever, and that puts them off. And then they don't really hang around that person much. Whereas in digital, it's like, oh yeah, I don't care if your house is messy or you're really anal or whatever, because I'm talking to you, not your house. I'm not actually there in your house, but I am with you. So there's a difference there too, and it makes for more tolerance, I think, and more acceptance. Otherwise, you're going to end up talking to yourself on digital. You'll be lonely because you've judged all these people by stupid things you don't even know about. That's a positive thing. There's a lot of positives.
It makes those things less important.
Yeah.
Because they're really not important.
Even to
really.
Yeah, how you look. If your hair's messy, who cares? Like if you go out somewhere and you get judged more. But here, they don't care. Everyone, like I said, everyone's at home. You probably either got your jammies on, or you just got home from work and you're tired and a mess anyway. But the quality of you is still there, and that's what we focus on, I think, in digital, is the quality of you, not your house, your car, your clothes, your makeup, your hair, your shoes, or even the quality of the digital equipment you're using.
That's true.
It's about you. Oh man, I'm having flashbacks. Quick, someone talk. Fleshy flashes.
I mean, it's almost as if the whole digital addition to just the way that humans have relationships with each other in general. Now that the digital thing's been thrown into the mix, would you say that it is? Well, I mean, we said it forces you to exercise your social, like what you're gonna say, and like it's kind of almost like a tool in a way. So would you say it's like making the good, important relationships better, or is it just because there's more access to more people of like minds that it simply just doesn't take as long to develop once you've found a group of people that think the same way you do?
Kind of bit of both, because one, you hang around the people you like better, because in digital you can just flick off the switch and not talk to them, right? If you don't like them. Whereas in reality, you'd have to walk away, or you don't go back to that place again, or it's easier on here, just turn it off. Oh, that person's there, I'm not going to talk to them, but you can even swipe them off your thing altogether, right? So that's different, but then you'll end up, you've got no one to talk to. That's what I was saying before. I'll be plain. If you're an arsehole in digital world and everyone cottons on, you're going to end up on your own. Whereas in real life, in real life, you can actually suck someone into hanging around you. But in digital, they'll just flick the switch and flick you away, you know.
Right.
It's a bit harsher that way. But it's honest, it's more honest. The hard part is when you do have good relationships with people, you build a good friendship bonds with multiple people, and when something happens to one of them, it really cuts you because you actually can't be there. It's not like your mate at home, oh, so-and-so's in hospital, quick, everyone jumps in the car and rocks up to the hospital, we're all here, we love you and support. You can't do that. I find that very, very hard.
Me too.
It's gut-wrenching sometimes.
Well, you just answered my follow-up question.
That's, for me, the hard part of having a digital family like you guys, because knowing that I'm so far away from everybody. I mean, hours away. It's like if something happened and I was the closest person, it's like, oh, if we just talked a little more, maybe we could have figured this out. I mean, you essentially, with a digital family, and I don't mean to be cruel or anything, but that's the harsh reality of it, is that because of the distance, you're only limited with what you can do. It's not time, because you can spend all the time together, but it's the distance when an emergency happens or crisis arises.
Yep.
And you need to be proactive and get involved. You're limited with what you can do.
And when, you know, in real life, you got friends and something happens, the people that your family and your extended friends know that person, kind of. So if they see you, they'll give you the nod, yeah, I know who you are, you're close to that particular person we have in common. But on digital, because of the way it's set up, the other friends don't know them like you do. They don't have the same, they don't even know what they look like, probably. You know what I mean? So if you refer, or something happened to one of them, they'll be, unless you've spent time telling that person about your digital friend, they have no idea what you're talking about. They don't really care because they don't know. You know, that's the other. There's fors and against. The against is, that heart-wrenching distance. And
For is love, the joy, the uplifting, and when you're having a bad day.
Yeah. And laugh. I don't think I've ever laughed so much. Like, the laughter available. Yeah, the laughter is abundant.
And the singing too.
And the singing. Yes, there's a lot of positives.
It's helped me be a lot freer to be who I really am. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah, same.
Here.
I mean, it's definitely a tool that I am utilizing on my voyage, my walk through life.
I think it makes you braver too.
In many ways, being able to come talk with people of like mind, that no judgment, learning from my peers, helps me. And it's that bond, it's that love, it's that positivity, it's that creativity, it's that joy that keeps me coming back, because I like it so much. And it really, at the end of a bad day, I mean, yarning with you guys always cheers me up, just like a family unit would do.
And
But I think a lot of families nowadays don't don't take the time to talk with one another.
no, they don't, even though
Like
they're in the same house.
our we communicated, we chatted, they talked, and today the digital technology for people like us, we use it the way that it was in a good way, in a positive way, the way that it was intended. But it's unfortunate there are people out there who prey on media like this because they can scam somebody, they can con somebody. If you know what you're doing and it brings you joy and you like it, I mean it's your life. Keep doing it. If it brings you joy, keep on. I know I'm going to keep coming.
And I think it's time we hear about the people that are physically impaired and stuff like that, how digital has enhanced their life because they can't necessarily get out and do what everyone else can do. But digitally,
Yeah.
they can reach out into the world and participate in a way they couldn't participate before.
The many sins man is here. Hey brother, hey Nacy.
Wake up, Nacy. He's shy. But yeah,
I'm listening.
I'm listening. So I would ask Nacy, how do you find the digital world has enhanced your life?
Oh, being in my situation of being blind, it's been extremely beneficial on many different levels. I've made the statement before, now that I'm blind, I see better because I don't get caught up in the distraction of our oogly googlies. And so I can really listen to somebody. And so it's been its peaks and its valleys and everything in between, and I'm thankful for the opportunity of having the present moments with all of you, especially when the majority of them have been in positivity. And so the relationships for me, myself, the minute that you talk to someone for a second time, from my opinion, is a relationship. And then it goes from there, whether it builds positively or negatively. That's each individual's prejudice to decide, But it's unfortunate that we're so caught up in a label or needing a label. We're like, where is this relationship, or what type of relationship is it? Is it a physical relationship, a digital relationship? Is it intimate? Is it a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a partner, a husband, a wife? But the relationship is what it is. And there's interesting how it has the word ship in it. And to me, that's reminds me of the military. And in order to have a ship in its movement, you have to chart a course or plot a course. And when it's a relationship, more than one person, then there's two people that are selecting, hopefully, with good communication and compromise and a lot of empathy, that they plot a positive course. But unfortunately, the she be mighty up and down. So you have to be prepared, because sometimes the seas are calm and sometimes there's the storms. So, aye, Captain.
Okay, here's a question as well. Let's say you have meaningful, lasting digital relationships. Do you think that can be translated over into the real life? Like, when you're building a digital relationship, you're relying on all these other senses because you're not standing in front of the person, right? So you are paying more attention. So in a way, it's almost building a better foundation for a meaningful relationship when you do it digitally. So can we take those skills and use them in the real world?
I've never tried it, so I don't know. But that's an interesting, like, can it be translated?
Yeah, like or even implemented, like something that you learn about when you're building relationships with people online, and you notice the differences and the similarities. If it could be implemented somehow in the real world, like in your physical relationships, and I'm being vague.
Well, I met someone and like for the first time, and she just came and stayed for the weekend, and it was like all good. And I had never met this person before. So I guess it can turn out either way. Sometimes it'll translate just like a date or a few dates or someone who always finds themselves in the friend zone. You know, you're always a buddy. Well, why did I just say that? Never mind.
Well, that's another thing that we haven't really touched on, which Nase brought up, was the different classifications of relationships, because
Mhm.
it's going to change a lot depending on what the classification of the relationship is. But I don't believe I heard any one of those classifications that I would have considered to be outside the possibility of being developed fully in a digital platform, which is fascinating to me that that can happen. It's like, what makes two people decide they're even going to bother talking to each other? What is that?
For me, it's an attraction. Whatever that attraction is, something they've said, their sense of humor. It's an attraction of some sort.
So, is that? Do you think that's just like based solely on the individual, or is there something else that just some people clue into and some people don't?
I think just some things click, and it doesn't take a lot of work for whatever reason. Sometimes people even try to put it into words, like what is it that we just clicked, or that we think the same thing at the same time. Things like that are. Oh, I just put it out.
I was looking at the actual word relation, which refers to which refers to we've done it before, we're doing it again. We're just taken off where we left off. And maybe somehow our spirits all know who we knew before and who we do know, and it's just up to our little bodies to scramble around and find each other. Just saying.
I like
Very
that.
interesting thought.
It's just because of the It's like infers that we already done it. Like research, you already know the answer, you're just going back to check on it again.
To validate.
Yeah.
And that's how that's how things work with me. That I need to look at that word more.
So we're like somewhere along the line, our spirits have all known each other. Anyone that you know, somehow you're connected to them from wherever you come from beforehand. And that could be a myriad of things.
Yeah. Is that what makes a soul tribe so diverse?
I think so. I think that's why when you meet someone and there's nothing there and you don't even bother connecting with them, It's because you've never met them before, perhaps, or there's no connection at all. It's like that's why they're a stranger. Even if you say g'day, you don't feel any connection, and you go and talk to the other person. I'm just sussing this out right now because I never actually... Every time we have these talks, I talk about things that I've looked at, but they make me look at... These talks make me look at it more with a magnifying glass and go back over and have a look again at a deeper level. Because
I was just thinking when I was listening to you, Luna, that like I think people tend to more hesitate to one-on-one speak to someone in person because it's just kind of like, I don't know you. But then if everyone's in a general chat and they've typed something, well, you already have a door open there that I'm here to chat. So people feel free to ask questions and kind of get acquainted better in a chat room.
Yeah, like they're holding up a sign saying, I'm open to conversation. I'm not going to bite your head off, yeah.
But especially even after COVID and the masks and all, people didn't even want to make eye contact.
Yeah,
Things were getting real weird out there.
Because when you first talk to someone, you're not that goes back to not looking at them. Like Naso said, you oogly googlies, like you're not looking, judging them by what they look like. You're straight away, you're talking to them. In real life, you see them before you speak to them. And a lot of people judge people on the way they look, or the way they dress, or, you know, what colour hair they have, or whatever, how many tattoos they got. Like, people do judge, you know, people on that. But if that's not there, that judgment's gone. And they're more open.
When did judgment
I like to think
become such a harsh word?
There's probably some arsehole out there going, I don't give a fuck, I just don't like people. But,
I know what you mean, Jules, about how did that word get a harsh connotation to it? Because we constantly are judging everything around us. Like, is this a safe place to sit? Is that is this customer? We're just constantly judging and assessing. But judgment does tend to have a real negative, like, you don't judge me. When did it become so negative?
That was taking us off topic.
Oh, whoops. I'm really easy to get off topic.
No, I mean, I caught myself with that one.
Live bait or lure?
Lure. I'm too prissy for live bait.
So going back to the word itself, which is really cool, I came up with a similar description of or pull apart, whatever you want to call it, as Naysays. And what I was going to describe it is the way, like, relation, it implies that there's relative there, like it's related. They're the same, or they're from the same cloth, or they're just of the same principles, the same. And the ship part, it's like that saying when you say to somebody, well, we're in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
So but the whole process of that happening seems to, in my opinion, from what we've talked about so far, it seems to almost flourish more or unrestricted in a digital environment.
Yes.
Like, everybody's saying that it's easier for people to talk to people without being face to face because there's that social awkwardness has been removed.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a short way, putting it. Yeah, it has. It's been removed. The next thing I noticed, so the good thing, some people, they're afraid to speak up and stuff like that. They're quiet and shy. this platform takes that out of them, because it's like it's your turn to talk. Everyone's listening, and it brings people out of themselves. And then,
I agree.
Yeah, and then when it comes to real
Yeah.
life, they're easier to talk. They don't even think about it because they're used to speaking up. So yeah, it's good for that, for the confidence of speaking.
So that would be like one of the things that would be awesome for people like that to be able to translate that into like their real life instead of just always on digital.
Yep.
Oh, this would be a great group therapy room.
Yep.
It really would be, for people to practice all kinds of things.
Well, for me personally, when I did work the other day, and I had to teach and present a class, and I realised that the last 2 years, by the digital stuff I've been working, and thanks to Kev Baker allowing me to present that same stuff on his show and to the rest of the world, when I got in that little room in my community, I blew up like a firecracker, man. I was like, it was awesome. And I realised how gifted I am now after spending all that time in the digital realm with the digital people. What it's actually done for me is it's enhanced my life as an individual as far as my personal energy goes. So standing in front of real life people, doesn't matter who they are, what chaos is going on, none of that didn't affect me at all. I just ran smooth. And it wasn't until that happened that I realised the actual benefits that I've got from my digital relationships. So I'm 100% happy. Like 3 years ago, you would have said to me, "We'll get you on digital relationships, and your life's going to be better." I'd be going, "Are you kidding? That's a computer. No way." And I'll tell you, here I am saying the opposite.
I'm totally on point with Luna. Everything she said, I couldn't agree more. Being similar shoes, coming from Kev, and I never knew that I wanted to get on camera and talk. And if you ask me I was just literally moments ago thinking, if you asked me 3 years ago if I would have a digital family, I would have like, you're crazy. I don't have time for a computer. I'm busy doing this. I'm busy watching this. And then it just got to the point where, you know, everything, and what got me on board with KBS long before Discord, long before I had digital relations, I would come and watch his uploads, and I would look at chat, and I would see how everybody was just engaging there, and then I took the plunge eventually, and I'm glad I did. But it's a place that it's where I got the spark, and then going on his show and feeling the energy that he had. It's a spark that once we all get together, that spark just ignites again.
Yep.
And like Luna, that spark that somehow Kev ignited or showed me the way to, or believed in me, it's coming through, and I'm overjoyed that I get to share my experiences with you guys. I can't describe the words. I have grown spiritually through digital media, and in one main source.
It would be interesting to look into if people are actually using digital chat rooms for cognitive therapy or like social disorders treatment or stuff like that.
Oh, I did.
They do.
I used this room to make sure I wasn't crazy, and then I found out everyone else was crazy, and I felt really happy.
I know, right?
Companies like Lyra, they have that access where you have the option to just text or video chat. I mean, now when COVID happened, a lot of people switched up their business and went to that. They had to go virtual. A lot of doctors' offices did. Mental health clinics went virtual. They relied on the digital relationship to keep their clientele.
Okay, that leads me to another question actually that I forgot to ask earlier. Is that what do you think if you take two relationships that they have to be meaningful of in your life, one has to be digital and the other one has to be real, okay? And you know what I mean by real.
Yeah.
Which one requires more maintenance?
That's an easy question, unless you've got bad computer or sound equipment.
My online relationships, because they're more frequent. I talk to you guys almost every day in one form or another. And a lot of people, even my own family, I've backed out of a lot of talking to them every day. I just don't have the energy for it.
It's easier. Online relationships are kind of easier. It's like that couple that they both have their own houses. They go out together and then go home to their own place, and it's a better relationship and it lasts longer. I don't know. For me,
I thought about that. I like having my own space, but I can be very involved and like on and off talk to someone all day long online, but I still have my own space. And when
So as far as real relationships go, I'm gonna be truthful. This is what's going on in some of my real in-person friendships that I have in the city. Since COVID became along and everybody was kind of taking their distance of medical reasons, other reasons that kind of don't really matter at this point, but trying to reconnect with them and knowing I have different different set of thinking and different beliefs than they have. It's very tiring that okay, I want to talk to them. What can I say when I can't say? I wonder how they're doing. It's not stressful. It's just tiring trying to figure out. Okay, is it worth me reconnecting with somebody when when I know that they're not going to be on the same page as me. They're not going to when I speak about this, they're not going to understand. So that's for me. It's easier to connect with you guys because you may not understand directly, but I'm in the ballpark and you can give me your perspective and point me to
Same,
where I need to look.
same.
So I mean, in a sense, I mean, in ways, I really do would rather come here for the deep, thought-provoking, meaningful conversations that potentially change my life. Sorry for the silence.
Do you think that there can be you know how people talk about being in a toxic relationship? Has anyone ever experienced anything like that in the digital form?
yeah, kinda, yeah.
Because I haven't seen very many. At least, well, not here.
That's what I was
because
saying. You do
I
have
take someone else, but
you do
I
have your
haven't heard
odd
of
person.
any.
But what happens in digital as opposed to real life, everyone in digital can see that person, whereas in real life they can hide. So
Yeah, I was also going to follow up that question with like, are there even differences in like when you describe a toxic digital relationship? are there differences between the real one and the digital one?
Yep. Well, one, you can flick a
Like-
switch and go, F you, I don't want to talk to you anymore, and they won't be in your life, whereas in real life they'll be knocking on your door, you might be living with them and you can't get away from them.
Yeah, but but are there different parameters that establish that relationship as being toxic when you're in the digital world as opposed to the real one? Or is it the same traits or the same things that make
Well, I
the
suppose
relationship toxic?
there's a difference because they're not here physically, so any physical actions or anything that they use in their toxic program won't work because they're not physically, but it's all verbal. Most of it would be verbal.
Right. So this, yeah, toxicity, I don't mean to be specific in any sort of way. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a physical thing. It could be, you know how people can be verbally abusive or
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
superiority
about.
complex or
Yeah.
whatever like that.
Yeah.
Would you, I feel like people would be safer from toxic relationships in the digital world, not just because they can turn it off, but it's like, it would be harder to establish. Almost, it's
Yeah.
almost like,
Yeah.
because if you can just switch it off, then what would be the point of even?
Well, I would say they
Yeah.
would prey on easier prey. They'd have to, their prey would have to be easier to get in digital than in real life. So they probably have to drop their standards. If they had anything. I imagine it'd be hard for them. So I would say it's much easier to be a loving, happier person in the digital world than it would be to be an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, one would assume that if not everyone figured that out, the people that don't figure that out are just going to get banned from everywhere,
Yeah, that's
and then
right.
eventually we're going to be left with people that aren't assholes.
Yeah. That's what you like to think. An AO free AI. Oh dear. And I've got to say, this is one subject I never thought I'd be talking about. But
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not what I was thinking it was going to be, I have to admit. Because I thought that when you brought this, I thought this was going to be one of those topics that's like, yeah. And then I thought about it, and it's like, I kind of don't want to do this because it could get potentially personal for a lot of us. And then it's like, and then we started talking about it a little, and it's like, this is going to be good. And I have to say, it has been a good conversation.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and a lot of you have, a lot of the questions I had were kind of answered as y'all were speaking anyway. So I mean, I thought it was definitely informative. I don't think of digital relationships the same way as I did before we had this conversation, and it's whenever you have a change in your thought process, I think that's a good thing. That's why I come here too. So thanks for that discussion, because yeah, if anybody else has anything they want to ask about digital relationships and anything like that, then I guess now would be the time to do it, because
I'm sitting
I'm out of questions
here
now.
trying to think of any questions.
well,
I'm sitting here thinking if there's any questions I want to ask, and I can't. I'm just absorbed in the conversation that's been going on.
Well, there's one more thing I've observed. I do know people that they got their real life relationship, and they're, instead of in real life going off and having an affair or something because that's what they're like, they do it online, and like when their partner walks in, they pretend they're talking to someone else or whatever, and I look at that and I think that is so stupid, because that person's not in your life as in a physical relationship, you know what I mean? Because them people that
Yeah. So how does the feeling of betrayal or guilt, whatever you want to call it, depending on what side you're on in that situation, how does that translate over into digital relationships too? That's really strange.
I can't help but wonder what percentage would be of those people that are in a relationship, a committed relationship, and the guy does like look and talk with somebody online. Maybe could he be talking with somebody for their intellect? Or there's something that his wife is not giving him mentally? Why do both a lot of people often think that it's for obvious sex when as I grow older I realize that's a part of life, but it's not the only thing. It's not the only reason to live and love.
So I guess okay, would would you think there'd be justification for being jealous of a digital relationship that say your partner was having? What if they were completely open and honest about it? Would it still like make you feel uncomfortable?
I think it depends how far it went. If they were putting the camera on and displaying other than you know the norm.
See, there's so many aspects about digital relationships
know.
that are so blurry.
Because how can I put it? If
there's emotional adultery. There's emotional not being faithful. It doesn't have to be a physical thing. If you've taken vows and you are married, then
there's
people
boundaries.
of the opposite sex, you have to be really careful that you're not starting an emotional affair with a male because they easily are giving you something, maybe who's seen you every which way and loose for 30 some years. Well, is that even a fair competition? No.
Yeah, there's boundaries, Connie. I reckon there are.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If they're going over the boundaries, you walk in the room and they got the camera on and they're doing other things than they should be and they're talking about certain things that they shouldn't be. Well, that's just as bad as in real life, I reckon, as playing up on your partner because you've busted all those boundaries. There's no respect there. You might as well pack your bag and jump on an aeroplane or in the car and go and be with that person because the only thing stopping you is the actual screen because you've seen everything. You know what I mean? Without going into detail.
Okay, well, let's take the sex out of the equation and pretend that it's like it could be still emotionally involved, I guess, say, but clearly there doesn't have to be sex involved for these relationships to be, I guess, jealous of. If you're in a if it's coming from your partner that you're in a relationship with and they're always talking to somebody online, I could see how that would make some feel maybe neglected or inadequate.
In real life, right, I've seen and heard this many times. I've even had it in my own life. How come you can do that talk about that with them and it's easy, but we have a problem talking about it? The truth is that's what kind of people we are. Not 100% things are going to match just because you're in a relationship with someone. Doesn't mean that every single thing you do is going to match up. You know, one partner might like war models and the other one might like doing flowers. You know, they got nothing in common, but yet they might meet somebody in their realm of creativity that they get on with immensely and they can sit there for hours and talk like we do on here. And one partner might get jealous and go, how come you can laugh in that with them and you don't laugh with me? And it isn't a matter of that. It just means that's what they got in common. They shouldn't even bring it into the relationship because at the end of the day, who are they looking at when they wake up in the morning or go to bed with? Who's on the pillow next to them? You know, that they shouldn't let it come into that area. I see boundaries. I see clear boundaries, you know, when it comes to digital stuff. You tell me I'm wrong if I am because I love to learn. But I see clear boundaries, you know.
Well, okay, so the boundaries would imply that like both parties were being open about it. But let's say that they weren't being honest about it, and it's like one person doesn't even know about it, and let's say they never find out. Is that still considered like crossing those boundaries?
Are you talking about the two people talking in the talk and one doesn't know and the other one
Yeah.
does? Well, that's in real life too. How many
Yeah.
times, do you know someone who's bloody loves somebody quietly? That person could be in a relationship and they never do anything about it, but on the sideline they're all there. I love that person. I've even had dreams about that, Polly. I had a dream once I lived in this place that it was snowing, and that's how I know it's not real, because you'd never catch me. And this guy with a beanie and a big black beard walked down the stairs and went, "I've always loved you." And I looked at him and thought, I don't even know who you are. That was a dream. But that's what that dream told me. There's people that love you, you don't even know exist, and you love people that they don't even know you exist. That's a part of life. But it would be nice if they told you, because it's like there's nothing you can do about it, because love's like that. You know, that's the shitty thing about love. We don't have any say where it goes and who it affects. But if you were friends, amicable friends, and you needed to talk, maybe, if all respect was still held up, there's no problem with saying, you know what, I've always loved you. I know that nothing will come about it. That's just the way it is, but I've always loved you. There's no harm in that. That's just being honest. As long as nothing comes of it, and probably most of the time them situations happen, nothing can come of it, especially if it's digital. Because that's just the way it is. That's the situation. And I think that's why they tell us to say what we feel when, I love you. Don't be so ashamed to say I love you, whether it's on digital and real life.
Do you think that saying the words "I love you" over digital to a digital relationship or a person that you actually love is different? Does it have the same effect? Is it different than doing it in real life, face to face, do you think?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Depending on the person again and how they conduct themselves. Because if you said that to someone over the digital thing and they actually had feelings for you and you said, "Oh, look, I love you," you're not meaning it as in unconditional love. If they were in real life, they could jump forward and grab you and hug you and kiss you, and you'd have to go, "Oh no, I didn't mean it that way." But on digital, that wouldn't happen, and they'd just go, "Oh," and you could tell, it'd be different. Yeah. So yes and no to that question. It's a tricky thing, and I don't know why I'm answering all these questions, because I'm the last person to talk about digital.
It's almost as if, like, on one hand, I want to say it's made it easier for people to admit that they care about each other, whether they want to say "I love you" or any other nation to convey the same thing. It's made it easier, but at the cost of perhaps maybe taking some of the meaning out of it a little bit for some people.
Perhaps.
Like it's almost used too often with a lot of people that get online.
True, you can do that too, and that's why I always say love to you on this day, because tomorrow I might not be feeling it. But it can be taken. It can be taken too much. You can use it. It's like the other way, like saying fuck off you. So sorry for the French, but you can swear too much, and that it's like anything. It all comes back to that person who's talking, I suppose. You've got to be responsible for yourself in the end.
I guess at the end of the day, the only thing that matters in a relationship is, like, as far as one individual is concerned, is like they're kind of the architect of all the relationships that they choose or not choose to. They're attracted to these people for some reason, and but you can choose to not be in a relationship.
That's right.
And so, like, everyone chooses who they enjoy being around, whether it's digital or in real life. But in digital, it's like, clearly there's geography boundaries that are being crossed with like us being on separate sides of the earth.
And one,
So that makes it easier as well. But it also, it's like, it's more, I would probably never, I would never get to meet people that far away.
yeah,
any
true.
other way.
That's true. You wouldn't be able to afford to go and see them, so you probably never would have happened.
Right.
One thing
True, but
one thing just come up.
even though
Sorry, I just want
Sorry, go
to say
ahead.
one more thing quickly. I'm the kind of person that I might like someone. When I smell them, and in real life I smell them, that has a lot to do with it. So if I think I love someone and I smell them, and their smell I don't like their smell, that's going to change things. That's just a little spanner in the works, but you know, you can't. We haven't got smell-o-vision or digital smelling thing, but that's one aspect. We only talked about hearing and seeing. When you smell somebody, it does things to your makeup and your thoughts, you know. So you could have a relationship with someone online and go to the airport to meet them because you think you're in love, hug them and then smell them and think, this isn't right. Anyway, sorry, Jules, it was just a twist because we're talking about these things.
it's all good. Train's left the station.
Another
It's
thing,
gone.
I've held people's hands and I realise their skin feels different to mine and I don't actually want to hold their hand.
You know, you do bring up a valid point with that statement in the sense that there are different types of people in the world. Like there are bear people, there are bird people, and you know these people when you greet them for the first time, when you hug them for the first time, or when you shake their hand for the first time, that limp, fishy handshake. It's a good judge of character. That's a relationship flag if you want to pursue or not. It's like the huggers, the bear people. They always give the good hugs, and you know a bear person by their hug. You know, I guess what I'm kind of getting at is in real relationships, you get to experience that, but in the digital relationships, you get the sense and you get the feeling of what a bear hug from Luna would feel like.
It'd be more like a mouse hug because I'm so small. But that's true. That's another reason I'd love to meet you because when you feel my energy and meet me in real life, it's different to digital. And I just want to hug you. Always like, I just want to hug. Can we mail that? Can we put in the mail and mail a hug everybody? So I can smell you. I'm joking. But
And for me, in a
Pretty
way,
sure I smell like pine.
not knowing, not having met any of you, and the thought of the possibility of hanging out with you and stuff like just really makes me happy and excited. Like that could be, and that would be so much fun. Right now, I'm just smiling ear to ear thinking about it. So
what's missing in this
It's-
discussion is somebody that we don't like, so they can give us an honest point of view on digital relationships. I'm joking.
well, I got a little tense there, so I'm so glad you're joking. I'm like, uh-oh, something's coming out that I'm not.
No, because I'm just thinking we're all a bit biased here because we all do care for each other. We've our digital discussions here of we're like family now. And I think that's why we've all agreed to talk about digital relationships, because everybody in this room at the moment that you're listening to, we've all known each other for nearly 3 years plus. So we can talk about relationships, and we all love each other. So it's hard to really gauge an honest thing on that, because we're all kind of biased, because we all are friends. And I would presume the talks we have on different platforms, different people, would come out differently. Somebody randomly could jump in and give us a whole new rendition on digital relationships that we haven't come across, because we all do care for each other. So
Yeah.
that's what I was
Well,
getting at.
there's one specific relationship that we all have that will never ever be digital, and that's the relationship you have with yourself.
Absolutely. As long as you're willing to allow yourself to have a relationship with yourself. And it's like Naysay said earlier, that means just being, that drop the labels, just be.
So in I guess a way, digital relationships can help one's relationship with themselves.
Yeah.
Has me.
That's interesting and
I
good.
mean, just here, I mean, talking over the past couple of years with Luna, I've grown, and I'm inspired. You guys inspire me to keep in my routine, and I come back and tell you, "Here's my boring day," and it's like my day was boring, but it's like you kicked ass though, and it's like I like coming and sharing my days with you guys because you inspire. It's I come back because I love you guys. I It's reciprocated, and I keep coming back. It's it's just this is I can't describe. I'm tripping over my own tongue.
It feels like coming home to me.
Yeah. It's a very welcome place. And for not for lack of trying, we have been so inclusive here, and yet we always seem to keep coming back to one another. So
Uh,
and perhaps it is our souls reconnecting, or our spirit reconnecting again. And we'll probably likely do it again. Hopefully
and
in
it
another place, in another time, and not back here on this this place that I don't even want to be here right now, because it's just so chaotic.
Well, another thing it's done for me is that prior to getting my digital family, when I was out in public, the people I knew, the spiritual stuff and that I talk about, I wanted to talk about to somebody about it, but I realised that when I talked about it with them, they look at you like you're a bit crazy, because they don't quite understand, they're not on that path. And now having a digital family to discuss those things with, because they also have a spiritual point of view, when I go back in the community and I'm around these people, I feel more relaxed, and they feel more relaxed with me, because I'm not trying to have that conversation with them anymore. I'm actually quieter, and I can sit there and more in peace, because I've already had that conversation with my other family,
Wow.
and it's more
I never
prioritised.
thought of that.
Yeah. Well, I felt this. This is what happened. I remember sitting in community one day and thinking, oh, that urge to say stuff is gone. What is it? And then I realised, I don't need to say it to them, because I've already said it to you fellas, and it's satisfied. and I can just be normal with these people at their level. So, yeah, it was good for me. Thank you, Creator. Even though I was a reluctant digital person when it all come out. And if you, like I said, if you had said, oh, in a couple of years' time you'll be having a digital relationships, I'd be like, yeah, no way, I don't even have a TV.
Yeah, we can talk about that if you want for a minute. Why do you think there is like a sort of reluctance? I mean, I know this reluctance is probably a little bit to do with generational, like when you were born. But I mean, even from like my generation, I'd say probably half people, they just don't entertain the idea of having a meaningful relationship with somebody online. They just don't. It doesn't exist. The possibility is not even there. So I wonder what it is that allows some people to have basically equivalent relationships digitally online that are enriching. I mean, there's not a lot of bad things that we've come up this evening. I don't think there's a couple of things, but those translate easily over into real relationships as well. Some of them, apart from the not being able to see or be by somebody's side physically. There's not that many detriments. So what is this reluctancy to explore the idea of digital relationships from some people? I don't understand where that comes from.
Fear?
Maybe, yeah, I was gonna say, is it fear, or is it just they just, I mean, they don't know anything about it, or is it like a genuine like fear? Like they fear the idea of something meaningful coming out of the screen.
Well, I can't, again, just me in think mode. I wonder if some people could be hesitant of digital relationships. I wonder if some could be hesitant of digital relationships because of the whole sex factor. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who want meaningful conversations without the whole concept of sex being involved. I mean, I wonder if that would deter some people from.
Well, that's me, because I love people for the beings that they are. And it's so awkward when they, excuse me, those physical things come into it, because it's like, hey, I'm unconditional here. Raise yourself up.
Yeah.
Here it's less likely to happen digital. But then you never know. I've often thought what some people might do while no one's looking, your mind kind of, it's like, I just presume everyone behaves themselves and has high morals, But it does happen. There is that tendency. But isn't it a good place just to love people unconditionally and spread love and joy and happiness? And I think it's a perfect platform. Yeah. And intellect, like how much have we learned intelligent-wise from digital relationships, sharing knowledge you probably even wouldn't meet somebody that has that knowledge in real life, but on digital realm, there they are, they're talking about stuff, and it's like, wow, I heard about that, that's amazing, when they present it from their walk of life. The percentage of meeting someone in real life has diminished, that's what I find where the gold is the knowledge as well as the love, the knowledge of all these different people's point of views. You walk, they're showing you their life's walk. This is my path, look what I've done. And you'll just get so enriched from it. And you learn to appreciate more things, I found. So yeah, I'm 100% happy, Polly, with digital relationships so far. At first it took me a little while to get used to it, because it was like walking into a big room and you don't know anybody. you know, them parties and everyone looks at you when you walk in the door. And it's like, shit, I don't know anybody here. I don't even know what kind of music they're going to play, nothing.
To be honest, I didn't really have I had a sort of a mental list of questions, but I came to this knowing that after asking a few questions and explaining where I was coming from on this topic, that you guys would be coming up with questions that I could riff off of, and that it would just keep going. Because that's kind of like what we do here, I guess. Like we you know, I mean, I could have probably done a lot more preparation, but I guarantee you that if I had done more preparation, I probably wouldn't have gotten to speak about half the things that I had written down. You know what I mean?
And one more thing to add to that, I'm full of fucking knowledge today. Music. One of our friends in digital world, he plays music all the time, and me personally don't really listen to mainstream music or anything like that. I listen to nature or native music, or I just sing. And I thought one day I've lost my passion and like for the music in the world because of all the deceptions and things what happen, and when you hear the true story about the artists and all that, and it's just all that stuff, I lost my passion for it. But through the digital relationships and some people loving music and that, it's actually brought my passion back for music. I can listen to things now and enjoy them again.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and these are just mainstream stuff, and I'm even singing mainstream stuff now, which I never used to do. So I found, yeah, that's something else as well. I got a whole bucket of positive things here. Who do I tip them on? And my son moved away, far away. But through digital, I still maintain relationships with him. I still want to hug him and smell him and hold his hand. But after talking to him through digital platform, it's kind of like he come to visit me or I went to visit him. So it's better than not having it. So,
Amen.
yeah. So thank you, Creator.
I mean, it is even. It's that closeness. I mean, the digital world now can give you that closeness, can give you that comfort,
Mm-hmm.
can give you that person who will help you if you're in a bad way, even if it's just by conversing.
The only thing I learned I had to watch was before digital, as you know, the bush telegraph, where we use our mind. At first, that was getting lazy because I was relying too much on actual digital, and I had to pull back a little and make sure that I still maintain that balance. And I did, because I realised even though I don't talk to you fellas, I can still reach out spiritually and use my gifts and feel how you're going. If you're having a bad day, I can feel it in the ether. Oh, one of my friends are having a bad day. I know it's one of you people on the digital realm. And I can come home and click on the button and go, how you going? How was your day? And then I find out one of you had a bad day. So it's still working. At first I thought they might clash, but I've actually made them hook up together, and they're still working side by side. So I'm really happy about that too, because my first thought when digital stuff come was, how does it match with spiritual gifts? Does it interfere? Does it enhance? Does it squash? How do we do this? Because a lot of people would say the digital realm is a dark thing, an evil thing, right? It does have them aspects, but I've learned to realise it has good aspects, and creators learn it's like a thorn and a rose, you know. It's roses, yeah. So enough from me now. I'm going to fade into the background.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. There's a lot of bad out there, potentially with digital relationships, but if you use it the right way, for your personal benefit and growth, where's the harm? I'm sorry, Connie, you were getting ready to say something.
Um, that's okay. And now I'm just staring at the ceiling of all
Oh,
kinds of
I'd like to hear, we had Bernays dropped in and Donnie.
yeah.
I'd like to hear how digital relationships has affect their life or what they got to say on it, whether they think it's a good idea or not. If they want to drop in and say something. Because the more minds, the more better picture we get to see.
Yeah, I'd love to hear others' opinions.
They're probably sleeping. We put them to sleep. That's what it's like, radio. I'm just going to listen to the radio and then the next thing you're asleep.
I probably did.
Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour, our second hour. I think we've...
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of
Bernays
stuff.
was muted. Well, he was unmuted.
So I think we've checked everything out. Is there any corners here we haven't covered, Polly?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there probably is a ton, actually, but I mean, as far as what we've covered today, I think it's definitely given me a lot to think about, for sure. And maybe we'll probably touch on these sort of things in the future as well. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to let what we've covered so far, I'm going to let that steep for a bit, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Yeah. So there we
Because I really literally could just keep rattling off questions that I haven't thought of yet.
Yeah, that always happens. It always happens when I talk about something, I get up and I've finished and it's like, I've got all these 10 other questions I could ask. Always leave
Right.
another show, another day. Yeah, same topic. Even to different people. So,
I have
Yeah.
one thing to say about my online relationships, and that is I see them all as an investment. Like, I don't see it as wasting time online. I do see that a lot on YouTube. Whatever I blow a lot of time doing, it wouldn't really take anything away from my life if I didn't do it. But this would. My relationships, the people that I speak to, and that means something to me personally. Yeah, I miss them. If a few days go by, I miss them. And so it's an investment to me into people that mean a lot to me. And at my age, people mean more than any sort of housework. Like, I spent my whole adult life keeping a home and laundry, and I hope I get some kind of balance back in that area. But I'd much rather speak with people all day long, even, or just listen. Oh, and that's another thing I love about online relationships. When I don't want to people, I can just not come around. And I can turn off I put on do not disturb, and I don't have to people if I don't want to, and I don't have to feel guilty anymore. Like, I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I should. If I need to be alone, then I need to be alone.
it's funny.
Period.
Funny you say that, Connie, because in the old days, they used to put a sign on their front door that said "Not receiving today."
Wow.
And I was just thinking
That's
that word
right.
"not receiving," I thought, on the digital platform, that's a not receiving. That makes sense, yes. Not receiving. So it's natural for people to shut the door, put up your not receiving sign. It's actually good for you. We all need time out. Digital platform, you just flick the switch, you can get your time out. Real life, it's a bit hard. because you've got so many people coming from so many different angles, you literally do have to put a sign in your front door that says not receiving today. And it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So there you go, people. Digital relationships. I think everyone's in one by now, some shape or form. Whether it's on your phone, on your computer.
Let me stay. God, I've never been in a relationship with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people at the same time.
It's like a party every day. I think that's why it's so
It
addictive.
really is.
Hey, me especially, every single day I got it. Someone's online there talking in my kitchen. It's like they're a part of my family. My family knows everybody. Yeah, it's different here. I don't keep it separate from my life. It's part of my life. And it's just like anything. I can't wait to get home and tell you what happened. It's the same, you know. Part of getting home now is not just telling my own blood family, but telling my digital family, what did I do today? I got some real important news. And it's just enhanced it. Yeah.
And I do like sharing in your news.
And I am aware of the fact that one day the electricity can go out and I'll come in and I won't be able to talk to yous. And I'm aware of that could happen, but I know that yous all know how I honestly feel, so it's all good. That's why I don't understand why people deceive people in digital relationships, because they're only deceiving themselves. It doesn't, you know.
You see a red card, you'll know it's me.
Yeah, just because it's digital, it still has the same rules. If you're going to lie or be deceptive, it still will come back on you. You can't pretend that's just on the computer and it's not real. It still is real to one point or another. Somewhere.
Well, especially with somebody, it's real.
That's right.
Or, you know, you wouldn't even be thinking about it.
It's real.
Is it real?
Is real life real? What's
Is
real?
real life?
That's another topic for another day. What is reality? I think we've already covered that. So is everybody happy with that? I'm happy. Are you happy, listeners? I hope you are.
I am happy.
Polly.
I'm totally still in thought about like what's been said. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to stop thinking about some of these principles for a bit.
Oh dear,
it's really because it's interesting to me that like this form of social interaction or relationship building, bonding, whatever you want to call it, it's very new, and it's integrated itself so intrinsically in, and sort of like it almost fits perfectly into place for people to be able to use it for good. It seems to be able to encourage parts of a relationship that might otherwise be difficult when you're face to face to somebody. So it's making me think about digital relationships in a whole like broader scale. Like, what are these relationships going to look like in the future, like far away from now? And I don't know. It's just really cool to think about.
Will be more digital relationships in the future are going to be with virtual reality, with Oculus, and
they're going to be selected for you eventually. Yeah, they're going. They're going to be selected.
Metaverse is going to change people's perception of digital reality. I mean, if there are times when I admit that I thought, well, maybe I need to do this, and and kind of feeling guilty that I've been spending time in here with you guys, but this is nothing compared to what's going to be coming on the horizon with virtual reality. I mean, all these companies have been scraping people's data, and in the metaverse, you're going to be able to pick a street to walk down, people will be walking down the street and they'll have a little bubble above them that has their name and their stats. So you'll be all of your data will be out there in the metaverse, and people can be super selective if they want to engage with you or not. So this is still kind of, even though this is deep and impactful, it's still kind of relatively novice compared to extreme digital relations in the future. I'm not looking forward to the metaverse. It would be I can see where it would have its benefits. Like we could like literally all go to a coffee bar and see one another in the same room. But the way society is going, that's what people are going to want to do, and I think it's designed for people to step away from reality to a virtual reality, because people are already getting ready to profit off of it, and it hasn't even fully kicked off yet. I mean, people are going to be selling stuff on there in virtual reality, and I'm still trying to put my head around how you would obtain goods in virtual reality in this reality.
That'd have to be virtual.
I just can't help but feel there's going to be something bad that comes from the collision of reality and extreme virtual reality.
Wow. Well, on that note, digital relationships, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Jules has led us into another topic, and that's a scary topic, Jules. We're going to have to look at that one. Protect ourselves into the future. So,
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to like leave it on a downer, but
no, it wasn't a downer. It was just an open door.
yeah.
So I might let Polly lead us out today.
Well, I just want to say one quick thing for anybody who may come along and hear this later, that if they have any ideas for anything that they want to talk about at the Discord discussion roundtable, that they're more than welcome to contact anybody who takes part, and the more ideas, the better. Because what we're going to probably end up doing at some point is, if we don't have a topic, then we're just going to probably end up talking about current events, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. I think we'll probably still have like very good conversations. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for everything they've contributed. This was a good one. I liked it. I had a really good time. And yeah, I hope everyone has a stellar week, and can't wait for next week.
Me
Nobody
neither.
else has anything to say. I got one more thing to say before I exit stage left, and it's a little juvenile knock knock joke. So if you will humor me, please. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Olive.
Olive who?
Olive, you all.
No. Good one. I love you too.
I love you all too.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you'll join us next week. Yalu.
Yellow.
Yep.